Americans, dear Americans, what have you done? Usually we ignore overseas candidates for our prestigious award of Scam of the Week, but our greatest ally in the global rules-based order is the land of the free. And the land of the free under Donald Trump is poised to take over Canada, Greenland and the Panama Canal and whoever knows what else. Yes, the Donald. We did warn you it would be interesting times. And now our cherished thinkers in the media, our thought leaders, are tying themselves in knots, having been huge fans of AUKUS. What to do about AUKUS? Can we possibly just make it AUK? They have yet to accept Paul Keating's assertions that this is the worst deal in all of history, something that we very much concur with. And Peter Dutton has reassured us this week, which is good to know, that he would work better with Trump. Good old Peter. We don't doubt it. There are some minor legal issues to surmount, however. Greenland, for instance, has been under the control of Denmark since 1721. But now the Donny boy reckons he's going to just take it. The Panama Canal, well, that belongs to the Donald too, according to the Donald. And as for Canada, yes, it's a sovereign country with different laws and different people and all that sort of thing. But that is apparently going to become the 51st state of the US of A. A claim which has the scallywags here down under crying, me, that's us. We are the 51st state. What about AUKUS? And to those who would say that we are a sellout, to those who would say that we have sold our sovereignty to the US, the land of Donald, let me remind you that this is a buy-in, not a sellout. We haven't sold anything apart from our sovereignty. It is costing us good money, $370 billion to sell our sovereignty, which we'll have to borrow. Yes, we're going to have to borrow it. We don't have it in order to become the 51st state or cement our position as the 51st state with our bases and so on. And what better hands could our sovereignty possibly be in than the Donald? He even says he's the greatest himself. He even said this week, the Donald, that Hezbollah was responsible for storming the capital. Yes, for the January 6th uprising, Hezbollah, according to the Donald. Now, we're still waiting for the official reaction to the Donald's expansion plan across the world, the Donald's new global rules-based order. So what is the official reaction? What does our ambassador to the US, Kevin Rudd, have to say about it? Well, Kevin's most recent public declarations have featured Kevin chumming it up with a few of the Republican bros. Also well-wishers, of course, for the Californians during their bushfires. And the other one, of course, is it a sign? Is this what they call quiet diplomacy? The ambassador himself posted photos of his cats, Louis and Ella. Ella was looking comfortable with the situation, Louis not so much. Since Denmark, however, is part of NATO and Trump is threatening to take Greenland by force, will NATO not therefore be forced to defend Greenland? Who knows? The global rules-based order is very unruly. Maybe the US can team up with Israel and just take the land, and if they kick up a fuss, blame Hamas and genocide them, burn their children alive. Get a visit from Mark Dreyfus, Australia's top lawman, who is in Israel this week to repair relations with the genocide bros, to repair relations with Israel. That's what it's come to. That's what Marky Mark is doing this week. In any case, Australia's leadership is watching in trepidation. Nobody has yet come forward to suggest we bid farewell to AUKUS and just make it AUK, or maybe expand it, since we're going back in the day, back to the future, expand it to include the Roman Empire and ancient Greece. Did you notice those Indonesians? Relations have always been a little bit testy with the Indonesians, never quite matey mates. They've signed up to BRICS this week, another defection to BRICS. It's the way of the world. But this is really beyond our remit. The Donald, that is, closer at home, Santos. the oil and gas giant, was hit with a fine for an oil spill over in the West. $10,000 slammed. It was pretty outrageous that Santos was forced to pay a $10,000 fine, not to mention another $10,000 in legal fees for the proceedings in the Karratha Magistrates Court. That $10,000 will be tax deductible, thank heavens, but when you think about it, the oil spill was only 25,000 litres of oil. And yes, it did kill a few dolphins, but what were they doing swimming around in an oil spill anyway? You'd think they'd know better. And when you look at the maths, 40 cents a litre. It's almost half of what we pay at the pump. Now let's say Santos makes a $1.3 billion annual net profit this year. It takes them around 4 minutes to cover the fine. And a lot can happen in 4 minutes. And besides, just putting it in perspective, it's $10,000 more than Rupert Murdoch's Foxtel paid in tax over the last 5 years on $14 billion in income. Tax is woke. You can check it out on a website. We've just done an investigation into Foxtel's finances. But what's the scam with the election campaign? Well, it's going to be long. It's going to be very long and very annoying by the time they finally formally call it. While Peter Dutton was out this week with his shtick when the wind don't blow and the sun don't shine routine, Albo was grilled at a doorstop about interest rates, about somebody who thought, by a journalist, I think would know better, that thought that Albo controlled the RBA, the independent RBA. So the latest inflation data was out this week, pointing towards a rate cut, as we've been saying. Michael Pascoe's been on about it. Underlying CPI was down 3.5% to 3.2%, headline not. But Kerry Stokes' new online magazine, The Nightly, wasn't having a bar of it. Inflation had soared! Inflation had soared, declared The Nightly, where it's clearly time for The Nightly to go to Betty buys. They said jumping to 2.3%, painting a grim mirrored image for borrowers. The Nightly, on the nightly pace, on the pulse. Also in the world of scams was news that Exxon, America's biggest oil giant, who didn't pay any income tax for 15 years in Australia on $100 billion worth of income, they announced they would sue Andrew Forrest, Fortescue, for defamation, for saying nasty things about their plastics production that had better things to do. Twiggy responded by saying he was delighted. Pin your ears back. Just on scams, while we've got you, we've included a very good short video in the description as backdrop to the Californian fires and the scam that is privatisation. Privatisation didn't cause the bushfires, of course, but this video says it all. It's a great little video, as the state's got a fraction of their water allocations for urban areas. Why is that? Well, this isn't good for fighting fires if you're short of water, obviously. The water in California is controlled by a billionaire who took it and grew it in privatisation. Through secret talks with politicians and bureaucrats, he had the laws changed in his favour. He owns the politicians and the research institutes, which pull back from doing decent research. And the water's used for agricultural land to produce pistachio nuts and other things. And this monopoly company is called Wonderful. It really tells the story succinctly, this video, wonderfully, about the perils of selling state monopoly assets, essential services, into private hands. And we've said it a number of times on this channel. And so it is that 80% of California's water goes to agriculture, and much of it to Wonderful's profits, while agriculture represents only 2% of California's GDP. It is literally nuts. But who do we choose here? While Marky Dreyfus was definitely in the running for his visit to mend relations with the architects of the 21st century Holocaust, and our new incoming dictator and sovereign of Australia, Donald Trump, does indeed merit honourable mention, but the prize has to go to Santos for containing its anger, showing restraint over this humongous $10,000 fine for the 25,000 litre oil spill. What a scam. How lightly they go on the oil and gas giants. Thank you For your support, please like, share, and comment in the section below.